Chapter 8, Second, Hyena and Jasmine's Perspectives.
Hyena's perspective. I had a lot on my mind while trying to figure out an explanation for Jasmine. I shouldn't have walked out, but it would have led to a lot more questions I wasn't prepared to answer. The biggest question being, why did you kiss me if you're really Hyena and know that falling in love with a turtle is illegal? I was pacing outside her apartment door, disguised as Raphael, trying to convince myself to knock on the door and give her an explanation. What do you even say to her? Taking a deep breath, I knocked on the door. My heart was pounding during the 20 seconds between knocking on the door and her opening the door. She looked at me in shock.
Raphael?
Hey, I took a few deep breaths and continued. I owe you a huge explanation for yesterday. Can I come in? She nodded and let me inside.
Look, Raphael, you don't owe me anything. It was most likely my fault.
No, I blurted out. It's mine. I grabbed her arm lightly and pulled her over the couch. We both sat down and I let go of her. I shouldn't have
kissed me?
She asked.
It's fine. You've told me over and over that you don't like me like that. You were in the moment. I'm the one who got too close to you. It was
not your fault. I finished. I told you that already. I put my hands on her shoulders. The truth is, I have had feelings for you for a year now, but
But?
Jasmine asked, staring into my eyes. I started shaking, looking down. Can't be with you, but it's difficult to explain. She touched my chin lightly and lifted my head up, looking me in the eyes once again.
As long as I get an explanation, I'll be okay with any answer. You'll come to find that I can be very understanding if you give me a good enough reason.
I grabbed her wrist and brought her hand away from my chin. Jasmine, She pulled her wrist away from me, looking down. Ipia told me she has depression, but I have no personal experience to know what that feels like. One of the symptoms of someone told is over. Jazz, it's just hard for me to say. Get any thought out of your head. This is your fault. It never was.
Then...
She started. I am... Why is this so hard to admit? Is it because I like her too much? Am I too afraid to lose her? I don't know for sure, but I know what I did next. I regret it to this day. I grabbed her shoulders tightly and quickly, causing her to look at me in surprise. Forgive me, I whispered before kissing her. She leaned into the kiss, wrapping her arms around my waist. Stop it, I told myself. I leaned towards her, the two of us laying down.
Jasmine's perspective. Okay, without going into too much detail, we slept together. I woke up the next morning alone in my bedroom, wearing a red pant and long-sleeve shirt pajama set. There was a note on the pillow. It read,
Jasmine, I'm so sorry. I did not mean for last night to go the way it did. The second I am ready to talk, I will give you a full explanation. I left early through your window because Syara got home early. I will not be. Raphael.
I folded the note in half and put it on my desk. Why couldn't he be with me? I sighed, but I felt pretty happy. Opening my bedroom door, I quickly walked to the kitchen where Ipia was brewing some coffee. Good morning, I cheered. Well, Ipia exclaimed. What made your mood do a complete 180? Nothing. You can't stay upset forever. It's a new day and a new beginning. Ipia crossed her arms, smirking in amusement. Something happened, but I'm not going to push you to say it. Just glad to hear that you're in a good mood. How was last night with the team? I asked. Jagwerye has this team of mortals that she's training to help fight for Katsa. She responded, That sounds kind of cool, I admitted. It could be, but Jagwerye has hired a 13 and a 16-year-old. 16-year-old is deadly and well-trained from what I've been told. She told me the 13-year-old isn't allowed in the field, but it still puts her at risk. Ipia explained. Although I don't entirely agree that anyone under 18 should be on the team, I trust Jagwerye's judgment. I tried. I don't. She has kids on the team. Even if they are well-trained, they are still kids. To make matters worse, none of these kids' families know what they're doing. And their leader, she trailed off. What about their leader? I asked. She shook her head. Nothing. Well, she's the oldest in the team, and she's your age. Look, I'm sorry to say it, but no one aside from me will listen to you, and they definitely won't listen to a mortal like me, I admitted. But, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, if something happens to one of them, we can hold Jagwerye responsible. It's going to take a little time before I'm talking to her again. I need to calm down. She told me, I honestly don't blame you, but she's also your sister. Calm down first, then go to her and calmly express your concerns to her. I tried. She nodded, understanding. She poured some coffee for both of us, then walked away to her room. I sat down on the couch and sighed, understanding her concern. I trust Jagwerye's judgment, but I started to wonder if I was putting too much trust into her. Chapter 9. Odd. Jagwerye's perspective. I sat silently in the Syara team's meeting in the God world, staring at Hyena. He was gazing at the floor, mind clearly wandering. The look he gave off was happy but filled with regret. Hyena, I started calmly. He didn't budge. Thegroszkitty got up from her chair and walked over to Hyena, who was seated close to the cameras. She had slapped his arm hard, leaving a mark. He jumped, suddenly aware of his surroundings. Rubbing his arm, he looked over.
Ow! What the
Jagwerye was calling you, Space Cadet, she told him. Hyena, I continued. I cannot help but notice that you seem a little distracted. He questioned.
Oh, sorry. A lot is on my mind.
Care to share? Thegroszkitty asked. He shook his head. Thegroszkitty elbowed his arm.
Fine. It's about,
I stared into his eyes, realizing. It is about Jasmine, right? I asked. He nodded, looking down at his lap. What about Jasmine? Thegroszkitty continued, crossing her arms.
I was told by my calculus teacher that she could tutor me. I asked what the problem is.
He sighed. The problem is she has a huge and obvious crush on you, Syara pointed out. Wait, you didn't go to her apartment, did you?
Yes. I was going to explain who I was before she got angry. Yes, but I ran out. We're past that. I went back to her place yesterday, hoping to give her a full explanation.
He explained. Did you? I asked. He shook his head slowly, shaking with nervousness. Syara narrowed her eyes. What the fuck did you do, Hyena? He took a few deep breaths.
I panicked, so I kissed her.
You what? Syara and I said at the same time. Syara grabbed his arm tightly and pulled him to his feet. You are leading this girl on. She needs to know you're a god before it's too late. Syara is right, I agreed. You need to fix this, now. We heard a light knock on the door. Syara quickly let go of Hyena. You may enter, I called. Mom slowly opened the door, then fully walked in, closing the door behind her. I heard yelling in here. What's going on? Nothing, the three of us said in unison. She walked over to me. What is going on, Jagwerye? I smiled patiently. It was just a little misunderstanding. Nothing to worry about. Jagwerye, she warned. No lying. It's taken care of, I tried. No conjunction. Speak properly. She snapped. Mom! We heard from Syara yell. If you came in here to crush Jagwerye's spirit and self-esteem, job well done. She's not perfect. You writing her about every little thing is not helping at all. Thank you for the concern, but we have everything under control. Now get out. We all stared at her in shock. Syara me Syara, my mom exclaimed. I am your mother. You do not talk to me like that. Syara raised her eyebrows. I just did. Now get out of our meeting. Mom took a deep breath. Jagwerye, please control your team member. She's your daughter, I pointed out. No back talk, she snapped. Out! Hyena and Syara yelled together. Mom closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Fine. She left quietly, closing the door behind her. Fix this, Syara hissed at Hyena.
What's so wrong with a god dating a mortal?
He asked. It's illegal, Syara told him.
But why?
He continued. I was shocked. He should have learned why in school. Then again, he barely showed up for class. I lightly grabbed his arm and brought him over to a discussion table. Both of us sat down and I sighed, letting go. A little before you were born, back when cat humans still lived underground, one of our gods fancied a mortal. He brought her gifts, left her sweet notes, even took her out on a few dates. Eventually, they took their relationship to the next level. A few months went by, and the mortal realized she was expecting a child. The two were ecstatic. The mortal ended up dying in childbirth. The god decided to raise the baby boy himself. Demigod Boy showed real potential and even had his powers mastered by the age of 5. As he got older, he realized that he could easily defeat almost every god. He decided to take the god world by force, defeating enough gods to take control. He then went for Karth. Epia and King defeated him, upset that he was trying to take Karth when they were already trying that. Dad ordered that the boy was to be executed. After that, he ordered that all demigod children be terminated, either before or after birth, and that no god was to be together with a mortal. He stared down at the table, speechless. I grabbed his hand lightly. You see now why we are pushing you to tell her? He nodded.
I just need to figure out how to tell her.